And you're sitting there thinking, I don't know if my books are tropey enough. I don't know if my book will sell. I don't know if it's like booktoky. And does it need to be? And I'm so over tropes, I don't wanna. So then, Kelsey, what do? I'll tell you. Okay, welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. Nope, can't say that. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, Kelsey, rom-com author, comedian, YouTuber, podcaster, oversharer, bestie on the internet, answering your questions. If you're new here, I am an established author. I'm currently rebranding, so some of my books are not up right now, but I've done 12 novels, thousands of reviews, thousands of readers and people on my email list and sales, and over 30 million page reads, and made six figures in just over a year from fiction, novels, rom-coms, and I am just here sharing the love with you. If you have questions, you can leave comments here on our awesome in the YouTube community we've got here. But people like to send in more in-depth questions at kelseyhumphreys.com/writing, and that's what I answer in this series. Okay, so today's question is interesting. It comes from Sherry. She's in New Jersey. What up, Sherry? And she is asking, she says, I need to create a trope for book 2 in my small beach town series. I know it's going to be a heroine falling for a younger man who is her her best friend's stepbrother, and helps her with a construction project. And this is a common question, is like, do I need to add tropes? How do I fit tropes into my story? Will my story sell? Will my book sell and be successful if they're not tropey? And I know there's a big group of people who are like just so over it. Over book talk, over trending tropes, over like how predictable everything is and cookie cutter everything is. And the fact that like to sell well, it needs to be predictable and safe and exactly like every other book in its genre. I understand that publishing, the whole industry, it is kind of uncertain. People are kind of freaking out. And so there's less risk taking. Everybody wants to be safe. Everybody wants to just put out what they know the masses will accept. Us as indie authors, we don't have to worry about that as much. We're not doing mass market paperbacks with millions invested on the front end. But we do have to think about, if I want to be a writer full time, which is what we're about here on this channel, we're not writing one book. We are writing series so that we can pay our bills and actually have a creative business that is profitable. With all that, you have to know, are my books going to sell? And a lot of that comes down to like, it actually comes down to reader expectations. What is my reader expecting out of my book, which is categorized in a genre? So if you write space cowboy western epic sagas, in space cowboy sagas, okay? What do readers expect out of that? And do you deliver it? Are you giving them what they want from that book? Don't try to write rom-coms if you're not funny. Don't, try to shove yourself into women's fiction when what you really want to be is cozy mystery or cozy romance. At the same time, don't say that you're dark romance just because it's a little bit mysterious, when really it's just more of a mystery romance or thriller romance, and it's not dark at all. You have to know what the reader expects from your genre so you can give it to them, so that they will buy it, review it, love it. Tell everyone, buy your next book, buy all your books, okay? That's what you need. So I want to kind of unpack here, how tropey do we have to be? Does reader expectation mean that you write a rom-com so there has to be a one-bed scene? Let's dig into this. There are structural tropes that you need to have. Obviously, if you're writing a mystery, there has to be someone is your investigator, is uncovering this story and figuring out the pieces. There has to be a giant underlying question within your world or your character or something that's happening, right? Now, within romance, like enemies to lovers, fake dating, second chance, marriage of convenience, those are structural tropes that set up the whole plot, set up the whole story. So in romantasy, unexpected heroine is plucked out of nowhere and expected to save the world. Or Romantasy could be, well, it's typically enemies to lovers, but there's always a lot of like kidnapping. Someone was snatched from one world and sent to the other world. Those are structural tropes. Those are not really even tropes. They're more like, story engines behind what you're doing. How to choose this, really, I don't. Sometimes I think, oh, you know what I've never written? A lot of times. So this comes down to, what do you want to write? Or if you are in love with a character idea, what tropes fit that character? What do you want to happen to them? Or if you're in love with a world, what can you put inside that world that readers will love? So it has to be some of your personal preference and the story you've got brewing and the characters that you have. We're not just putting tropes in there just to have tropes in there. That's why people are so mad about BookTok books, where I feel like, a hero who is supposed to be, broody and quiet and mysterious, all of a sudden becomes a dirty talker in bed. That's not really a trope example, but it is an example of like, this will trend on TikTok, so I'm going to shove it in here, even though it's not, it doesn't make sense for that character. Another one is, who did this to you, which also could be like the moment they realize, like, I will burn down the world for this woman, and the hero says, who did this to you? That doesn't really make sense outside of romantasy, or maybe like a bodyguard romance or action romance. Like, trying to put in who did this to you in a rom-com is a stretch. I mean, it can be done, but you see what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to be thinking in terms of TikTok moments. Write a great book, write a great story, have great moments in your story, and they become book talkable. They become Instagrammable. They become viral because they're well written, because they have an emotional moment, which I'll get to in a second. So when you're thinking about the actual premise, okay, a cop, becomes unexpected hero of the world when he uncovers an alien invasion. I've talked about this in past videos when I come up with these random ideas. But, that's not really a trope. Unexpected, or what is it? Unassuming sleuth detective. Or like, didn't mean to become a detective and now they are a detective. That's one of the things in mysteries. So I can't think of it right now because I'm in perimenopause, I guess, and I have a lot of brain fog. The point. That's not a trope. That's a premise. That's a setup. You can do whatever. Quit listening to people that are saying like, well, now everybody does enemies to lovers. Everybody always did enemies to lovers. That's not new. It's just like people caught onto it and realized they loved it and started posting about it. Like, some of these things are loved because they're great and they've always been great since the beginning. Don't let that annoying like virality about stuff make it seem tropey. That's a premise that's existed forever. Best friends to lovers, aliens, invasion. I mean, I'm trying to think in other genres, but obviously like someone goes missing, or, the unexpected pieces like of thrillers, actions, sci-fi, like those things are universal and they're not tropey. Okay. Now, micro tropes are definitely things that you might, if you don't hate it, you could think about adding them to your story. For example, you're writing a rom-com and you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm not really sure what could happen here. You could think, could I make one bed work here? Oh no, there's only one bed. Can that work here? How would my characters react to that? And would it be interesting? If not, no, don't shove it in there just because. Maybe it would be better for them to be locked in a deep freezer. Or, well, no, we don't want anyone to die. Maybe it would make more sense in your story for the car to break down and they have to walk 5 miles together. Like, you see what I'm saying? You can do this forced proximity thing that happens that doesn't necessarily have to be one bed. I guess one bed has the sexy time built into it, but that could also be like one scene I wrote. It was enemies to lovers, and she was trying to play it cool, and then her bikini got sucked into the hot tub. So she was forced to stay in there with him because she couldn't move because the little string of her bikini got sucked into the thing, which is funny. But you see what I'm saying? So let's talk through some micro tropes. These are moments, and they can work and they can be left out, but they also trend for a reason. And that's because there's emotional things happening. between two people. And that's what we want, right? So I already talked about only one bed. Who did this to you? Another one is like, oh, you're cold. And like gives, I can see you're shivering. Let me hold you. Or here, take my jacket. Somebody gets hurt. I like this one. Somebody gets hurt and it's like, I thought I lost you. Or all of a sudden they snap and go completely, out of character for them because they're so distraught because this person almost got hurt. Something like having to put your hands, like teaching them how to golf, or, putting your hands behind to like teach you how to make something, craft something, do something with your hands, reaching up behind the person to grab something, like the guy is taller, so he reaches behind her and their bodies have to get all close. These are just moments, right? Let's think of some other ones. Okay, this might be maybe a little bit more romantic-y, but it could be in any genre. Someone shows up for someone else who's in trouble unexpectedly. Like a lot of times it's like the enemy shows up to help, but it could be the unassuming character that you don't expect shows up to help. The like you're one of us now, or found family. That is kind of a micro trope because it's not usually the entire plot. Found family is not usually the whole point of the whole thing. But it's a good one to add in there if you can. People love it because we're all so freakishly lonely. Let's see what else. Defending someone suddenly to a stranger. Like the only one who can be mean to you is me. This could happen with a relationship with a mentor and a mentee. This could obviously happen in a romantic relationship. Could even happen in a complicated friendship, but like I'm the only one who's allowed to be mean to you, so they show up and defend. Sort of villain monologue at the last moment that allows the main character to buy some time or do something tricky at the last second, so there's a surprise. Locking eyes with the other person across a scene of chaos. Then obviously going into magic, there's lots of micro tropes within magic, when they're activated for the first time, the gathering around a map and plotting things out. Every epic quest seems to have that scene. That doesn't make it lame because everybody has it. Like I look forward to it. I want to visualize the map. I want to see them talking about the pieces of the puzzle. If it's sci-fi, I want to see, like in the Avengers, when it would be like Jarvis puts out this, projected world and everyone's standing in it. That's cool. I want to hear that. I want to see it described. I want to imagine it in my brain. It doesn't mean it's lame just because everyone does it. Bonding with a creature. I love it. I still love it. I hope I could write one day. I don't care that Fourth Wing made it this huge. I don't care. I love it. I want more of it. Entering a hidden world for the first time, breaking rules of magic because of extreme emotion, finding a scar that means something. Then, there's stuff in horror and suspense. Don't turn around. A phone rings. No one's there. A light is flickering or something's been moved. The classic, like, we should split up. No, you shouldn't. You're gonna die. Still, we want it. We like it. Hearing I'm proud of you from someone who you never thought would say it. A letter or a voicemail or a video or a message discovered after someone's died. Going back to a place that used to mean something and the character's reaction to that. The gas where you're like, oh, you look just like him, or you look just like her, that could be in any genre. That wow moment doesn't have to be accidental pregnancy. I'm always going to think in terms of romance books. Tell me that again. Could be a nostalgic story, could be a sweet romantic declaration, like tell me that again. Some like funny ones, like over the top misunderstanding that just snowballs and gets bigger and bigger and more ridiculous, which I know everyone says that they hate miscommunication, but they still buy it. They go to the bookstore and they buy it because you can see it happens. It works. It makes sense. You know why? Because we as human beings so often miscommunicate. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's popular for a reason. So don't be afraid to, who cares if some Instagrammer says your book is too tropey or too predictable? Okay, tell that to my bank account. All right. Oblivious characters that don't realize they're the hero or don't realize the other person is in love with them. A pet that causes chaos and we just love it. We love a crazy pet. I give me a crazy pet in every single book. I'm fine with it. Accidentally sending a text to the wrong person, or The one side friend who is always insightful about everybody else's life, but just cannot see their own stuff. Panic moments like shotgun wedding, or like shotgun, I handcuffed myself to you. Why did you do that? Or, I accidentally shot our lead witness. I freaked out. I shot him. So those moments, those are micro trope, emotional moments in a story. And if you can add them in, add them in. It makes your book more sellable. I understand that we don't want to be like mass market Walmart items, right? Like, I'm trying to think in terms of, like, I get it as artists. We want to create like the next masterpiece and maybe really push back against the idea of like, being a viral sensation on BookTok and all that. I'm sorry, you got to let that go. Great art can also be like mass market, obviously. Obviously. Some of the greats are also some of the richest writers. They are billionaires. They are multimillionaires. They are set for life because of their art. So quit trying to say like, well, I'm not gonna add in just one bed. I'm over it. I'm not gonna do it. Those types of things sell books. What we really need to be thinking about, I wrote this in the wrong place. Let me go back up in my notes. What we really need to be thinking about is actual, like what makes it so great. And that is the emotional moment. So I've talked about it before. The book called Universal Fantasies by T. Taylor. She has a book called Seven Figure Fiction, and she talks about universal fantasy. And it's what makes your readers feel something. And so those are the things like finally feeling seen by someone, finally being chosen for something. Everybody wants this. Your reader wants it. Your reader wants their friends to feel it too. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is so gratifying. I'm going to highlight it and take an Instagram of it and post it. Other things like that they might highlight. True love match that is faded. Like finding someone who is truly meant for me. Like you're my other puzzle piece. A fixer-upper where you get to heal someone with your love. Everybody in their life has someone who is struggling and you wish you could just love them enough. Like if I just love you and take care of you, it's going to fix all of your deep wounds. As a mother, I definitely feel that. But we're thinking that everybody has that emotion. And so that's one of those things that makes a great moment of, when the hero or even the anti-hero, realizes that they are enough, or that they can step up and save the world or whatever because of her love, right? So these are those moments based on the feeling. The Playboy reformed. That makes so much sense because everybody hates the Playboy and wants him to get his life together. Or we love to hate him. We love to see him be a hot mess. And it's like, oh, your, Playboy life is catching up with you. Everybody gets that emotion. So having that not necessarily doesn't even have to be your main character, but having a side character that's kind of a running joke. Or obviously as your main character, if he is tamed, if the beast is tamed, obviously Beauty and the Beast is a huge one that shows like her love, heals him. He's not a Playboy, but he was a beast and then he's tamed. The villain who hates everybody except for you. Now this is working in romance especially, but can also be, the person who is the hero becomes the hero because they're the only one who can really reach the bad guy and turn him into a good guy or convince him to stop, right? Things around holidays, things around the workplace. Everyone loves forbidden love. There's just something hot about it. Everybody loves groveling. So if you can put that in there, that doesn't have to be a romance. Like somebody finally coming to their senses. Vanquishing, revenge, vengeance. That's something everybody gets. Finally saving the world. High stakes. Will they, won't they? Is this author really going to kill off my favorite characters? Things that are like driving fast, cool cars or spaceships, speed, power. Another huge one is competitions, games, and puzzles. Our brains want to solve them. We want to be smart. We want to think, I could do that. I could totally do that. We want to feel what it would be feel like to do that, to be the winner, to be the champion, or to be super fast, or to be super talented. Those types of universal themes have us all up in our feels. And when we are all up in our feels, we highlight, screenshot, share, tell a friend, post to Instagram, make a BookTok video about it. right? So we do need to think about sellability because we are a business. You're a business and you have a product to sell. But really focusing on the emotion and the journey of your reader, what your reader's going to feel, what is your reader expectation, meeting their expectations, exceeding their expectations, and making them feel. If you're writing a sad women's fiction, you want that person to be snot weeping, just, right? I want people kicking their feet when they read my books. I want that squeal of like, oh, I can't believe you just said that. It all comes down to like the human experience. That's what art is all about. Making people feel, making people see perspectives, making them think, pushing their boundaries that they've thought about, pushing their envelopes. But none of that is going to work if we're not first thinking about the reader expectation. Then don't be afraid of big premises that are like, I keep thinking we're going to get tired of fake dating and fake marriage. No, we're not. They just keep coming out with new ones over and over and over. I'm like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to die out? No. So don't be afraid of an overused premise. And then don't be afraid of those microtrope moments that get posted for a reason, because people love them, because they have the emotional moment, the transformation, the person finally snaps. These things, don't shy away from them. Don't shove them into a character or a plot that it doesn't work. It can be obvious and it can make readers mad and it can make people like put rage content out about your book. Like, don't shove things in that don't fit. But if it can fit, sure, put them in there. Okay, now, going back to Sherry, she's asking specifically, small beach town series. The heroine is falling for a younger man, reverse age gap. That's one of her premises. It's her best friend's stepbrother. So it's forbidden love is another premise, I'm assuming. And then helps her with a construction project. Okay, so what I would do, if I'm thinking about this story, first of all, I'm a plotter, I'm an outliner. So I'm going to make an outline. And a lot of times when I'm making my outline, I will just think through what are some things that could work. Okay, so you're on a construction project. So, can she get hurt? And he rushes over and he's so mad that she got hurt. There's a moment for you. Can they get trapped maybe they get trapped in a construction vehicle, or they get trapped in a room that they forgot to put the door on the right way. The knob's not finished. Then you have some forced proximity. Could he also be like a boss assistant situation? Could they be rivals? Rival construction. It sounds like you already have kind of the big ones. So more small moments in a construction okay, we're at a beach and a small town. If you're in small town, is the small town meddling? Are they trying to set them up? Are they watching with popcorn as this whole relationships unfolds? Could be lots of inside jokes that he's not in on if he's not from there. Best friend stepbrother situation, you definitely could have at least one scene where she's uncomfortable and he steps in and pretends to be the boyfriend. Because they've known each other forever and it's no big deal if I just pretend for a second to save you. Obviously you're my sister's best friend. I'm going to help you. That's an easy one to throw in there. Let's see what else. What about him? Is he Grumpy Sunshine? Is he a player? Playboy reformed. We just talked about that. What is her situation? Is she unseen? Is he the first person to see her and realize how much she does for the town? Is he a billionaire? Is he a secret billionaire? Is she a secret billionaire? Is there a I love if one is a billionaire or millionaire, I love it where it's like the other person is so mad to realize she is living in she's living in a dump and her clothing is torn and I didn't even realize the condition she was living in. That's one of my favorites that I feel like is not written enough. Oh, one of those it's not what it looks like moments when it's exactly what it looks like, where she was about to kiss someone she's not supposed to kiss because it's her best friend's brother. A challenge is another one we didn't talk about, but could she dare him, dare each other to date people, or to prove they're not in love? They go out and I'm so not interested, I'm gonna go date somebody else, and then you get to have the jealous moment when somebody snaps. Oh, something where I love you could have he's watching her from afar because he's there in town, but nobody else is really paying attention because maybe he's carrying some wood or he's doing something, at the construction site, but it gives him the visibility to see her. Now you could go full stalker, like he's watching her and knows her schedule and he's embarrassed about how much he's watching her. Or like maybe like he sees a moment she thought she's crying. She walks around the side of the building to cry in private, but because of where the construction site is, he sees it. He snaps. He's so angry. Who made you cry? Why would you be crying? I'm so pissed off right now. Why am I so pissed that she's crying? And she didn't think anyone could see. Like, these are all the kind of things. I would just sit and think, okay, what's everything I can think of people love about a small town? Meddlers, inside jokes, just hilarious things that make no sense for that town. Like, why are the streets named that way? Or why is it, the whole town is laid out in a circle, like weird, quirky things. Small towns can give you sort of some leeway to be a little less realistic because small towns are weird and quirky. Okay, so everything you can think about a small town. Then everything you can think about a construction worker. I didn't even talk about muscles, okay, getting sweaty, having a whole crew around him. Everybody loves the male friend group. I think because we like to make it seem really interesting and because we don't, I'm not in a male friend group, right? And I think this is why hockey romance is so popular because of the hockey team and how they interact with each other. And they're like a bunch of overgrown kids teasing each other and, challenging each other and being ridiculous. All of that can be baked into the construction site and the construction workers. If he's a beefy construction worker, is she his exact opposite? Maybe she is, has chronic illness or is 5 feet tall and everybody makes fun of how tiny she is, and that works for every single Allie Hazelwood book. They're always he's huge and she's tiny, and I love it. I am here for it every time. I don't know why, it just doesn't bother me at all. Other people have posted that they don't like that about her books. Doesn't bother me, and thousands and thousands and thousands of other readers because she keeps hitting the Times list. What else? I don't know. You didn't tell me much about her. That's the other piece of where you can add the micro tropes. So if she is a creative type, is she always covered in paint? Is she idealistic and caught daydreaming and staring at the clouds literally? Is she very uptight and very type A? And so she hates being around the construction site because it's always a mess and there's stuff flying everywhere and it's a safety hazard. And he's like, it'll all work out. Like he's like a bro, and she's type A. Where you can find opposites is great. People love the tension of opposites attracting. If you can put in some extremes, I think it helps people to feel seen. Like if you can make her either, she's ADHD and she's always running late and she's a total space cadet. So many readers will feel seen in that. Or she's uptight and she's kind of anxious and his whole shtick bothers her, yet she's also kind of drawn to it. Again, super relatable. So I hope this helped you. Again, if you want to send me a specific question so I can brainstorm all these amazing ideas. I always say the most weird random stuff when I'm brainstorming, but KelseyHumphreys.com/writing. That's also where I have my free guide, which is how to take one book and make a best-selling series. I also have this amazing shirt because if we want to be creative professionals and succeed, there is some delusion involved. I also have a mug for this. You will subscribe, leave a comment, and I will try my best to keep doing these every week. But like has happened already this year, sometimes I'm going to fall off the face of the planet. I have 6 children and I have deadlines to meet, and there's just a lot going on. It's a lot. And since I have so much going on, sometimes I'm going to fall off the face of the planet for a couple weeks. But you can go to KelseyHumphreys.com/writing. You can find me on Instagram, where I probably will post more regularly than here on YouTube. And I will be back next week for another writing video.